A big glass manufacturing company threw a party for its staff to celebrate some big wins for that year. Rachel, who was one of the secretaries tasked to help out, and was so drunk she could barely walk. Fortunately, she was staying at the same hotel where the event was taking place. The journey to her room was anything but straightforward. In a hallway that suddenly seemed to stretch like a never-ending Minecraft, she stumbled, only to fall into the arms of a stranger. However, this was not an ordinary stranger, though. He was a handsome enigma. He seemed more drunk than her. Rachel, caught in the moment, declared him the cutest sight she'd seen all night. One thing led to another, and they shared a night of passion. In the morning, Rachel woke up with a splitting headache. To her horror, she looked at the handsome man lying beside her. It was Mr. Burns, her boss, known for his ruthless efficiency. He was a no-nonsense person. What the hell have I done? Rachel thought to herself. Rachel disappeared in a flash. Once she got home, Rachel was panicking. She was afraid that Mr. Burns would recognize her at work and risked a potential fallout. Meanwhile, Mr. Burns knew he had spent the night with one of the staff members but could not remember who it was. He picked a resume from the floor which had fallen out of the girl's bag. It had Wendy's name and address. Wendy was Rachel's friend, and she had printed the resume intending to give it to her at home. Mr. Burns assumed Wendy was the girl he slept with and offered her two choices, either to be his woman or receive $100,000 as compensation. Of course, Wendy knew this was a case of mistaken identity, but still called Mr. Burns, telling him she accepted the offer. Wendy moved in after 3 days of the invitation. Back at work, as Mr. Burns passes by Rachel's desk, he smells that unique flowery smell from Rachel. The smell made him replay the events of that night. Mr. Burns froze, as the smell was exactly the same as the girl he was looking for. However, after looking at how Rachel was wearing her nerdy big glasses, hair tied back, no makeup, Rachel was definitely not the one. It was just a coincidence. Of course, Rachel wouldn't look the same because that night, she let her dark brown hair down with deep curls. She had makeup on and wore contact lenses. She looked amazing in a red dress that emphasized her curves well. After work, Mr. Burns found Wendy already home wearing beautiful sleepwear, obviously to seduce him. Mr. Burns was put off by the spicy perfume she was wearing and asked her to get out his room. Weeks went by Rachel's secret and was safe until the day she heard that Mr. Burns had an accident and was in intensive care at the nearby hospital. Rachel dropped everything and drove to the hospital. Mr. Burns was lying in bed with eyes closed. Rachel went and knelt beside the bed, grabbed Mr. Burns' hand, started crying and apologized for not telling him the truth, told him how she was scared of being fired. She went on to confess her love, that ever since that day she had fallen in love with him. Mr. Burns opened his eyes and said, "Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was desperately looking all over for you." He brought her close and hugged her. This tale of mistaken identity, unexpected romance, and the power of honesty reminds us that life's most awkward moments can open doors to new beginnings. The moral? Truth, however uncomfortable, paves the way to genuine connections and opportunities, teaching us to embrace life's unpredictability with a smile.